Who are the best waiver wire ads heading into week 4? Lock on in as I answer that question and more on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Sports Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. As always, I'm your host, Dominic Martino, here without my co-host, Matthew, on night today. It is his birthday, so please be sure to sound off in the comments and wish my brother Matthew a happy birthday. But as always, you can find us on all social media platforms and podcasting apps. Just search for Locked On Fantasy Baseball, and we'll be there. If you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows a 5-star rating or review, we'd appreciate it if you could do that for us. It goes a long way to help the outreach of the podcast. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, you hit that little bell below. It subscribes you to the channel, also gives you a notification of every time we drop a new episode. And be sure to like and comment as well, because we love to talk fantasy baseball with you. Guys, on today's episode, as I mentioned at the top, I'm going to be providing you with some of the best pickups heading into week 4. So, we got some good ones here today, and let's start off with, is it Logan Allen or Logan Allen? So, Logan Allen, the Cleveland Guardians starting pitcher. Let's not confuse him with former Cleveland Guardians pitcher Logan Allen, who currently pitches for the Colorado Rockies. So, when you're picking Logan Allen, make sure it is the Cleveland starting pitcher and not the Colorado Rockies former Cleveland starting pitcher. Now, Logan Allen has, made some headway here in his first start. Looked pretty good out there. It was against the Miami Marlins, though. He went 6 innings, got the win, 8 Ks, gave up a run, had a 1 whip, got the quality start. And once again, we're talking Logan Allen here. Now, Logan Allen has actually pretty good minor league track record. He's pitched a couple of years in the minors. Let's talk about last year. He had the ERA was a little bit high last year, I'll be honest with you. 27 starts for Logan Allen last year in the minors. 4.75 ERA, 132 innings, 177 strikeouts, so we know he could strike some guys out. 103 whip, not always what you're looking for. But let's go back to 2021, where Logan Allen actually showed out. Logan Allen, 2021, had 19 starts, 21 overall games, came out of the bullpen for 2 of those. 2.26 ERA, 111 innings, 143 strikeouts, and an 0.925 whip. And then in 3 starts this year in the minors, Logan Allen had a 1.26 ERA, 14 innings, 20 Ks, and a 1.04 whip. So he's been, pretty good. Had that little blimp in 2022 as a 23-year-old. Logan Allen's only 24 right now. Definitely one of the best waiver wire pickups, heading into this week as far as starting pitching goes. He's 17% owned on Yahoo. I would definitely give him the chance. His next start is currently looks like it might be Boston. Not 100% sure on that one. Let's just see how things line up for the kid. But I think he's worth a shot. If anything, you just throw him on your bench, see how it performs. If he's not up to par, you go out there, you just drop him for the next guy. And once again, don't confuse this for the former Cleveland pitcher, Logan Allen, because I'll be honest with you, when I saw that Logan Allen was coming up for Cleveland, I was like, didn't they do that already? And it was not the Logan Allen I thought. It's so funny because their names are spelled exactly the same. So be careful with that one, guys. Next up, let's talk about Baltimore starting pitcher, and it's Kyle Gibson. Kyle Gibson always likes to do the little fake out. He's good sometimes. He's bad other times. Right now, Kyle Gibson is 39% owned on Yahoo. But let's talk about that last game against Detroit. Kyle Gibson went out there, pitched 6.1 innings, got the win, 11 strikeouts, gave up a run, and he had a 0.79 whip. And it was against Detroit. But guess what? On April 27th, he gets Detroit again. So at 39% owned, you could definitely do worse than Kyle Gibson, even if it's just a stream to help boost your ERA, help boost strikeouts, because he struck out 11 Detroit Tigers last time. I think Kyle Gibson is worthy for a stream. He's not somebody that is going to be the savior of your fantasy baseball team or anything like that. He hasn't been good over like the last 4 years. Just wanted to mention his name, because he's actually been pretty decent so far this year. Kyle Gibson has 4 wins, 0 losses, 3.60 ERA, 5 starts, 30 innings pitched, 24 strikeouts. And the whip is 116, so he's been pretty good so far this year. I'd say ride the wave with Kyle Gibson. Juice the orange is a term that, I got from the ESPN Fantasy Baseball podcast. Rip, they'll always be remembered, though. Tristan Cockroft and Eric Carabell, big shout out to them. They're a big reason why I do what I do today. So I'm going to steal their term for a little bit and say, hey, juice that orange with Kyle Gibson. So let's move on to our next guy here. And this is someone else, one of those, older guys that is, just hanging around there. And it looks like they're getting stuff done so far. And that's Joey Lucchesi. And he's looked pretty good so far. He came out, got the call up from the Mets. He was working his way back from, minor league rehab assignment. He went out there against San Fran. And he pitched 7 innings, got the win, 9 strikeouts, did not give up a run, and he had an 0.86 whip. And guess what? Mr. Big Time Joey gets the Washington Nationals on April 27th. So I think that's definitely a move you'd want to make. And Joey Lucchesi has a decent track record. He's not one of, absolute blow you away type starting pitcher. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the track record is a little bit worse than I remember it being. I remember that 2019 season where he had some up and downs with the San Diego Padres. Let's talk about that because that's his most recent season where he pitched a good amount of innings. Mr. Lucchesi in 2019, he went 10-10, 4.18 ERA, 30 starts, 163 innings, 158 strikeouts. And the whip was a 1.22. So once again, he's not going to blow you away. He's not going to be, the savior of your fantasy team, as I mentioned with Kyle Gibson. But he's somebody that you could at least stream him out there this week against the Nationals. See where that next start winds up. If he's good again, ride the wave, juice the orange. That's what you got to do right now to be successful in fantasy baseball, especially if you're playing in a more shallow league. That's those shallow 12-man leagues. Even if you play in a 10-man league, it's somebody you can mess around with. When you got that room to mess around and be a little bit more aggressive on the waiver wire. And once again, Mr. Joey Lucchesi is 10% owned on Yahoo. So I think he's once again just worth a chance. Throw him out there, see what happens. If he's if he craps the bed, you get rid of him and you go out there and you grab the next guy. And one of those next guys might be Griffin Canning. Now, see, the thing is, Griffin Canning's still kind of young. He has good stuff. He was dealing with a couple of injuries. So he really didn't throw too many innings last year. Yeah, last year he only threw 62 innings. He's never really gotten that full run because of those injuries. So as my brother Matt would say, he's got a little bit of a phalanges issue. If you're new here and you never heard phalanges before, it's something that Matt came up with that, a lot of our fans love, find it funny. So it's something that we stuck around with over here. It just means that they're an injury-prone guy. So I think Mr. Griffin Canning falls under that phalanges territory. Now, with Griffin Canning, though, in 2020, in his 11 starts, he was pretty good. 3.99 ERA, 56 innings, 56 strikeouts, and he had a 1.36 whip. So that control is something that comes as you get a little bit older. And now Griffin Canning being, 27 years old, he looks like he's figuring things out a little bit. I watched him pitch a little, and he looks decent. He's had 2 starts so far this year, 3.48 ERA, 10 innings, only 3 walks. You love to see that from Mr. Griffin Canning, and a 1.16 whip. So I think Griffin Canning is someone you could definitely give a shot, see where things go. He pitches on the 25th, so maybe as you're listening to this, if you're in a league where you can make daily pickups and it counts towards that day, go out there, give him the shot against Oakland. Not a great team. And, once again, just give him the chance. He was good against the Yankees. He was good against the Nationals. So I think Griffin Canning is definitely somebody that's worth the add. He's 6% rostered on Yahoo at the moment. So, you know what? Give him the shot. But before we move on to our next guy, just wanted to say this episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Getting to know yourself can be a lifelong process, especially because we're always growing and changing. Therapy is all about deepening your self-awareness and understanding. Because sometimes we don't always know what we want or why we react the way we do until we talk things through. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who can take you on that journey of self-discovery from where you are to where you want to be. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnMLB today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnMLB. And guys, I mentioned this last time, but mental health is super, super important. It's something that, we need to take seriously. If you're not feeling, at your tip top shape, if you're battling demons or just not feeling well in the head, you should definitely give yourself the fighting chance by going to BetterHelp and, giving the licensed therapist an opportunity to talk things through with you, because it's a very, very important thing in life. Also, we want to thank our everydayers and new listeners for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. Be sure to look out for a new episode tomorrow where Matt and I fire up the old worryometer. So let's move on to our next guy here, and it's our last starting pitcher, and that's going to be Zac Eflin. Now, Zac Eflin got I believe it was the biggest deal that the Tampa Bay Rays have ever given out in the history of their club. So, it's interesting, man. They had to have seen something there, at least seen something that they thought was worthy and they could fix. And Zac Eflin on the year, he looks pretty good so far. 2.81 ERA, a clean 1 WHIP, 16 innings pitched, 16 Ks. And he goes up against the White Sox on the 28th, so I definitely think that's a streaming opportunity. He's probably a little bit higher up on, my radar than the Gibsons and the Lucchesi of the world. He might even just be right behind Logan Allen, or him and Logan Allen kind of like hand in hand, because I just love what Tampa Bay does with pitching. They kind of like sometimes find these guys that, other teams have given up on, or the league as a whole has given up on, and they say, hey, we can fix you and take you to, another level and just make you a better starting pitcher. And don't forget, Zac Eflin's only 29 years old. He's not too old yet. And last year was a decent year for him with the Phillies. He had a 4.04 ERA, of course, 13 starts, 20 overall games. So he came out of the bullpen for 7 of those. And he threw 75 innings, 65 Ks, and a 1.12 WHIP. So he's not actually that bad. He's not as bad as some people will think. He is currently, let's see, he's about 61% rostered on Yahoo. So that's been flying up there a little bit since, this morning when I actually wrote this. And, if he's out there in your leagues, I would definitely give him a shot. As I said, he kind of is probably the number one guy as far as starting pitching goes, according to myself. So, give him the shot and see where things go. So that's about it right now for starting pitching. Let's move on to the bats. I do want to throw a special mention out there to one guy. I'm not going to do a huge breakdown on him because I'm not 100% sure what the long-term outlook is, but that's Michael Busch of the Los Angeles Dodgers. He is getting the call, and, the thing is, it's only because Max Muncy is on paternity leave, and I believe a few other guys are going to be out on paternity leave for, the Dodgers. So they kind of gave him the call, but he is pretty good. He's 2% owned on Yahoo. And the kid's a very, very highly touted prospect. I know I had a minor league draft this offseason, and he was somebody who went a lot higher than I thought he might. Let me get you some of the stats so far for him on the season. So far this season, Michael Busch of the Los Angeles Dodgers has played 21 games, 83 at-bats. He has 17 runs, 2 bombs, 8 doubles, 16 RBIs, and he's hitting a whopping .337. And let's talk about what Michael Busch did last year in the minors. 142 games, 552 at-bats, 118 runs, 38 doubles, 32 bombs, 108 RBIs, stole 4 bases, and hit .274. So in your deeper leagues, your NL onlys and stuff like that, I'd give Michael Busch the shot. 2% owned on Yahoo. He's second base eligible. Second base has kind of been a little shaky so far this year. So give Michael Busch the shot. Once again, I can't really give you the long-term outlook on Busch because I don't know if he hangs in there in that Dodgers, lineup for too long after everyone, comes off paternity leave. It's going to just be an interesting situation because if Busch comes out there and plays, those next couple of days and he's raking, kind of forces the Dodgers' hand, see where things go. But definitely remember the name Michael Busch. Throw him on your watch list if you can't pick him up. Like I'm saying, he's definitely somebody who's interesting, but I don't know how much playing time he's going to get. So with that being said, let's move on to, our next guy here, and that's Mr. Gabriel Moreno. Somebody that Matt and I talked about a lot on the podcast, and, when what's his name, Carson Kelly went down, we said, hey, there's an opportunity for, Moreno here, and let's see what happens because he's just a great baseball player. The guy knows how to hit baseballs. Reminds me of like a young Joe Mauer type. Maybe not as much power as him, but as far as batting average goes, this kid can hit over 300 every single year of his career. As you know, he's only getting better and better. Gabriel Moreno's 26% owned on Yahoo. On the season, Moreno has 3 runs, a home run, 12 RBIs. He's hitting .288. And once again, that batting average is the real deal. That young and up-and-coming Arizona team is very, very formidable. I think they have potential to, be a solid team this year, and the counting stats will be at least decent for Moreno. So last year, Moreno did get 25 games in the big leagues with the Dodgers. There was 69 at-bats, 10 runs, a home run, 7 RBIs, and he hit .319. And this kid's just always raked, down in the minors. Let's not count his age 17 season in 2017. But if you want to go on from that, in 2018, 359 batting average, 2019, 280 batting average, 2021, 367 batting average, 2022 in the minors, he hit 315. So the batting average is real. He might only give you 10, 15 home runs. He's got quick feet, so he could steal 5 bags. Counting stats, once again, that up-and-coming Diamondbacks team is formidable. So the runs and RBIs could be decent. So I think he can definitely contribute in a few different categories. And, catcher this year is a little bit shaky. Once again, I know a lot of positions are somewhat shaky this year. So Moreno's pretty good. He's still only 26% owned on Yahoo. If you would like the Logan O'Hoppe owner, or, you have a catcher that's kind of underperforming in MJ Melendez, don't drop MJ. But if you have an extra roster spot to play with, pick up Moreno, throw him in there for now, and just see where things go. You could wind up, moving MJ to outfield. I know he's outfield eligible on most platforms at this point. So see where things go. But like I said, Moreno's the real deal. He's not somebody you need to guess on, or is this guy going to be good? Because you know what? He's just good. And I think definitely worth the ad. One of my favorite young catchers in the game right now. Let's move on to our next guy, though. And this is actually one of Matt's favorite guys. I'm a little upset he's not here to talk about him, but that's Jaren Duran. We should just might call him Duran because he is rocking right now. Right now, Mr. Duran, as a 26-year-old, has played 7 games for the Red Sox, 23 at-bats, 4 runs, 4 doubles, no bombs yet, 6 RBIs, 2 steals, and he's hitting .391. Is he going to keep up that crazy high batting average? No, absolutely not. But can he hit for a decent average? Yeah, sure. Mr. Duran is only owned in 12% of Yahoo leagues right now, so you need a little outfield help. You need some speed help. He's definitely a guy to look at there and go grab. In 2019, he stole 46 bases and hit .303. And, he's 2018, he stole 24 bases, hit .357. The last couple of years, he hasn't been outstanding. In 2022 in the minors, he was decent. He had 18 steals, hit .283. He's not really much of a pop guy. So, you're really just going to grab him for a decent batting average and some steals at the moment. And he's been hitting 7th or 8th in that Red Sox lineup. I don't know if there's much potential to move up at the top of the lineup. Top of the lineup for the Red Sox is actually decent. So we'll see where things go with him. I am a fan of Duran. I wish Matt was here to talk about him a little bit more because, Matt really has the insight on this guy. It's one of his, favorite young up-and-coming players. But 26-year-old Jarren Duran, definitely somebody you should go on, give him a chance because he is rocking and rolling right now. Guys, with that being said, though, I just want to talk about our new sponsor, So Rare. It's a revolutionary fantasy baseball game and marketplace transforming fans into owners. With officially licensed digital cards featuring players from across all 30 MLB teams, it is unlike any other fantasy baseball platform. So Rare managers truly own their fantasy experience, collecting, buying, selling, and competing with player cards against global opponents to win epic rewards. Win or lose, you still own your cards, and there's no cost to play at all. So Rare recently partnered with MLB All-Stars Juan Soto and Julio Rodriguez to serve as brand ambassadors. Both are featured in So Rare's current brand campaign and will engage with the So Rare community throughout the season at MLB events. And guys, they couldn't have got 2 better sponsors for this, new platform. I love Juan Soto and Julio Rodriguez, and when you're playing, you get a chance to meet them. You got to hop on So Rare, guys. So head to sorare.com/locked-on. That's spelled SORARE.com to draft your team of free player cards, set your lineup, and start competing today to win those epic rewards. Again, that's sorare.com/locked-on to start playing today. And guys, the rewards range from memorabilia, jerseys, those MLB events they were talking about. You got a chance to meet Juan Soto and Julio Rodriguez, so it's definitely worth for just that. And it's also a very, very fun game. If you play fantasy baseball, you'll definitely love what So Rare has to offer. So let's keep it pushing here, though, and let's talk about our next guy. And he's somebody that you might have heard his name thrown around in the fantasy community a little bit, and that's Mr. Connor Joe. I mean, guys, how about these Pittsburgh Pirates? They've been absolutely, killing it so far this season. Surprise of the league. Even with O'Neal Cruz going down, they're still getting it done. And Connor Joe has been a contributor. On the year, Connor Joe he's batting 20 for 56, which equates to a 357 batting average, 13 runs, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs, has chipped in a steal. And Connor Joe said, I don't need Coors Field, because if you remember, he used to play for the Colorado Rockies. But this year, he's playing for those Pirates. He's batting 3rd, 4th, 5th, so he's right in the heart of the order. He went 3 for 3 on April 21st with 2 runs. He went 3 for 5 on April 19th with 3 runs. He's just out there getting it done. Connor Joe is 24% owned on Yahoo. He's first in outfield eligible, and he's pretty good. Nice young player. He was decent in Coors Field. I don't know why they got rid of him. Just maybe too many cooks in the kitchen over there for Connor Joe in Colorado, but he's solid. Let's talk about the 2021 season for Connor Joe, where he played 63 games, 179 at bats. He had 23 runs. He had 8 home runs, 9 doubles, 35 RBIs, and he hit 285. He stole 6 bases last year with Colorado. He did only hit 238, but, he was given inconsistent playing time, and sometimes as a big leaguer, it's tough to wake up every day, and you don't know if you're going to play or not. You look up that lineup card, you see you're not in there, it upsets you. Then you got to wake up the next day, check if you're there again. It kind of doesn't really build any momentum. But now that he's out there in Pittsburgh playing every single day in the heart of the order, I think Connor Joe has a chance to be a real fantasy contributor this year. Once again, first in outfield eligible for Connor Joe, 24% owned on Yahoo. One of my favorite pickups here so far for, heading into week 4. Let's talk about our next guy, though, another Pittsburgh Pirate, and that's Jack Sawinski. Now, Mr. Sawinski is, outfielder. He's 16% owned on Yahoo, and he's been decent so far this year with 7 runs, 5 home runs, 12 RBIs, 2 steals, batting 255. So he's probably a little bit more of a deeper league play at the moment with, the way that he's been hitting. But let's talk about the last week, though. The last week he's hitting 353 with 5 runs, 4 home runs, 8 RBIs, and those 2 steals. So he's really picked things up of late. He's been hitting 5th or 6th in that Pittsburgh Pirate lineup. And as I mentioned to you, Pittsburgh Pirates, second best record in all of baseball right now. Very, very widely available. He was a decent prospect. Let's see if we can talk about some of Sawinski's minor league numbers there. And that's spelled Suwinski, Sawinski. And he's been decent in the minors, never really blew you away. So maybe it's just more of a juice the orange situation. Not really much of a speed guy, a little bit of pop. But, he's getting it done right now. So, sometimes you just juice the orange the best you can, and you grab the guy while he's hot. And once again, Mr. Suwinski isn't somebody that I would necessarily be holding on to long term. But, I would give him the shot while he's hot and just see where it goes. So let's talk about our next guy, though, and that is Mr. Harold Ramirez. Harold Ramirez is on actually the best team in baseball right now, the Tampa Bay Rays. He's first in outfield eligible. He's 51% owned on Yahoo, so we're talking about somebody that's a little bit more owned at the moment. On the season, Mr. Harold Ramirez has 11 runs, 5 home runs, 10 RBIs, and he's hitting 373. Now, Harold Ramirez had his moments last year, too, on that Tampa Bay team. Once again, you can't really be mad at picking up a guy that's in the best lineup in all of baseball right now. They've homered in every single game so far, I believe, still. And he was actually pretty good last year as a 27-year-old. He played 120 games. Once again, this is Harold Ramirez we're talking about. 403 at-bats, 46 runs. He had 24 doubles, 6 bombs, 58 RBIs, 3 steals, and he hit 300. 2021, he hit 268 with 7 bombs, 41 RBIs, 3 steals, and 33 runs. So is he going to blow you away in any one specific category? Probably not, but he's going to help you in batting average. He's got a tiny little bit of speed. The runs and RBIs are probably going to be at least decent in that Tampa Bay lineup. So he's definitely somebody that I think is worth a shot at the moment. And guys, in fantasy baseball, the thing is, I love to say is just juice that orange. Once again, from someone that came long before me, Mr. Tristan Cockroft, he just, always said juice the orange. And I've, taken myself into that, and it's always worked for me because you could drop guys and pick them up and, just see where things go. And that's something that you just need to take advantage of when it comes to, fantasy baseball. Just a couple of quick notes. Brian Bayo did get sent down into the minor leagues. So he's somebody that you might want to get rid of at the moment. It looks like Bailey Ober got sent down as well. He's actually been pretty decent, somebody that I touted a little bit in the off season. And I will say this, Matt would definitely want me to mention this. Tommy Henry got called up for the Arizona Diamondbacks. We were going to talk about him last week because we're not sure how this is actually going to go. So if you're sticking around here till the end, you're getting a little bit of some good information here. Tommy Henry's not a great starting pitcher. He's gotten hit around a little bit in the minors. And Brandon Pfaadt is really the name that we wanted to talk about because he might wind up getting the call and taking things over here. The call up of Henry, we think is temporary. Excuse me one second. Had a little sneeze there. Sorry about that, folks. So once again, we're talking about Brandon Pfaadt, and that is spelled Brandon, and then last name is Pfaadt. He could potentially get the call if Tommy Henry goes out there and gets smacked around. Brandon Pfaadt's a great young starting pitcher. Somebody that throws pretty hard. I believe he led the minor league in strikeouts last year. The ERA may not be fantastic, but like a young Robbie Ray type where he can get you big strikeouts, maybe win a few games for you. The whip might not be fantastic. The ERA might not be fantastic, but he's a great young starting pitcher to keep your eye on. Once again, that is Brandon Pfaadt. But guys, that is all for today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Check out our website if you already haven't. It has a lot of good information about us. You get access to all of our episodes there. And, just thank you. Thank you for all of our fans. Thank you all of our everydayers. Thank you all of our new listeners. We truly appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in to Locked On Fantasy Baseball. For Matt and I, this has been a dream come true to do all of this. And, once again, that is all for today. But make sure you lock on in for tomorrow's episode where Matt and I fire up that old worryometer and talk about some guys that are a little bit worrisome at the moment and talk about what we're doing with those guys. But until then, see you.